Hello, hello. We are here with BellaHoot, and I am going to talk about a tie-dye or a marbled dip powder look that you can do. So we're going to swatch it tonight, and I do already have one layer of clear on here. So I forgot to open all these up beforehand. And I'm going to try. I always end up doing like 2 or 3 takes on videos because I get so nervous and I ramble and I say the wrong thing, and I'm going to try not to do that this time. So these are not our full-size jars. This is something that we are testing to do for a convention kit for our consultants. So these are actually some special colors too. So this is clear, which I put 1 coat of clear on here to give us kind of a base coat to start with. This is, it's not coral, it's not on the site. It is similar to coral, similar to mint, similar to sky blue. These are actually not on the site. The only one that's on the site currently is lemon. We use them to make other colors. So what we're going to do is try to accomplish kind of a tie-dye look. It'll look a little bit marbled, but I'm hoping that with this technique, it'll look a bit tie-dye. So you'll take your base coat, your either 2-in-1, which is what I have, or just your base coat. And I'm going to go up, I'm going to go into the, literally dip into the jar and get some of this color on there. And I'm going to just go in the corner right here. And my goal, although I don't know, this is the part I don't know if it'll work, is to kind of have it rounded out like this in the corner, but I want those kind of streaks to come out, and that's what's not going to probably go the way I want it to, but that's okay. That's why I said it can be kind of a marbled look, but we're going to just go with it. So I want it up in this corner. And then in between colors, we're going to wipe it off our brush. So, and I have not done this before. I am testing it on video with you guys, which, as you know, I am notorious for, so we're going to learn together. So now that my brush is cleaned off, we're going to go in and get more of the base coat, and we're going to grab some yellow, which on the site, this one is lemon if it's in stock. We may not restock this particular yellow again. And we're going to go around in that kind of tie-dye pattern where it comes out from one color to the next. Hopefully you can see this. Now what we maybe should have done is get and do white on the bottom, but I think we're going to do clear because that's what we want to seal it in. Because for this convention kit, we can't get too many colors or the price will go out of control. But we're just going to put some yellow on there. And then we're going to go in and get this minty green. This is a creamy mint. And now granted, you can do however many colors you want. You can do whatever colors, you know, different colors in this. You can go neon, you can go pastel. That's the cool thing about tie-dye, is you can really play with it. And then we're going to go with our blue. So this is a technique that you could do lots with. You could do kind of a watercolor type of idea. You could do like this where it's kind of a tie-dye shape. And it may not be turning out how I would like. That's why we're testing this, to see how it goes. You could do however many colors you want though. I'll go back in with the red, which is more of a coral, I guess. My inspiration one was red on the edges, and then it went to yellow, to green, to blue. So I grabbed what I thought were some more summery colors, kind of being that coral and that mint are often used in in summery colors. Let me get this off of here. But I had never seen anybody, this may be my problem, I may need more. With this being a white jar, I don't know how low it is. Oop, I meant to go in with yellow. And again with green. But you can definitely experiment with it with different colors, but see how we're kind of getting that pattern where it's a little bit of a swirl. So I said it, well, when I looked up tie-dye dip powders, this is what the technique that they were using, and we're gonna let that dry for just a second. The technique that they were using, and but it kind of looks marbled. I think it kind of looks watercolor, but it's just, you could do a lot of fun things with this technique. So I think we're going to go back in one more time to try and get the colors to be a little bit darker. So, and since we're not going for the perfect lines, this is kind of exactly what I wanted to have happen, because you know how the water or the tie-dye doesn't have perfect lineage. It has those speckles into the next, or the stripes into the next color. So that's exactly what I wanted for this tie-dye look, because our convention theme is going to be tie-dye. And I wanted to give in the kit, enough colors that they could really achieve a fun look. So by kind of dabbing it in there, you're going to get that layered look where they come together. And I definitely like the 2 coats, how much more color we're getting on there. But I do think and you don't want a super thick glob on for your base coat. You do want it to be manageable, or you're going to have a really lumpy finish to your dip look. And I know for me, I don't want that. So I do think we'll use this green, but I think I will probably add some pigment to it. So from this video to what will be in the kit, that green I think is going to be darker. Just because it's, I don't know, maybe. We'll kind of see how this turns out when we get to have it all dry and step it back. But that mint, I think, gets lost in there a little bit. And right now I think the blue's lost, but I think we're going to fill it in right now. And because this is the first time, I'm probably being cautious with how much I get on my brush. So you could do a little bit more, a little bit less. That's why I did a swatch stick to kind of test this out the first time and see what we think. And then obviously, if you get the convention kit and you end up with all of these 4 colors plus the clear, you don't have to make a tie-dye look. You can just use, the corals and the mints for summer. You can use the blue goes for almost any time of year. Yellow is such a sunny, happy color in my opinion. I love yellow, especially as an accent with like pink. It's just absolutely beautiful. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. Those of you who have seen my tutorials, I'm very good at this. But this would be a great kind of rainbow look. Great little tie-dye or marbled look. And you can try to round yours more than this one's coming out. I'm looking through my screen you know, to get where I want to be at. So, and although you would think working on a swatch is easier, for me, I'm not used to it, so it's different for me. I actually really like that. It kind of reminds me of like those popsicles. I don't know what they're called. Or those Otter Pops. No, not Otter Pops. Astro Pops. When I was in high school, we had Astro Pops in our bookstore for lunch. We would all go get Astro Pops. So what am I at? I'm at green and then blue. And you don't have to stick the green in there. If I may just leave it this minty color just because it's really, really good for summer. And you wouldn't have to put it in there. So the first time around, I don't think I put any blue at the tip. I'm going to put a little bit of blue just to give it a little bit more depth. Oh, I'm off camera again. I'm fired about this camera stuff. Okay, so that's that. So that's our little tie-dye, marble, rainbow, whatever you want to call it look. I would think that if, and I'm going to try it just for the heck of it because we already kind of get the idea, but if we had those pulls in there, you know, going down, so I'm going to see since they're still kind of wet if we can pull them a little bit and get them to mix together. But yeah, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's a new technique that I wanted to do a video on anyways. And, you know, it's up to you if you want to do that. I think I needed to stay rounder as I came down, and I ended up kind of with stripes. So that's one thing I would change, is I would bring this mint further up, the blue further up, and kind of make them, you know, the yellow's too thick. But you get the idea of the technique, and that's what I wanted to do. So once you're all done with your colors, you don't have a lot of excess powder to dab off since you weren't dipping into the powder and you're not pouring it on. So you don't have a whole lot of powder. So I would just say you need to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pause for just a few seconds because normally you'd be doing all your other fingers. So I'm going to pause for a second to pretend like we're doing all our other fingers, and I'll come back in to do our clear coat and our activator and our top coat. Okay, so we should be good. So we're going to go in with our base coat and pull one whole coat over the top. And then since these are smaller jars, you can pour them if you're going to use the whole color, like a solid color, or your top coat of your clear. The clear is to encapsulate it. You can do 1 or 2 coats. That way you can file it smooth. Once it, you know, once this layer dries, you would do activator twice, then you can file smooth if you need to. It's actually a really smooth finish. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's not a whole lot of bumps in it, so because we don't have a lot of base coat on there. Maybe one right here in this yellow, but I think it's just still wet. I don't think it's actually that bumpy. So anyways, you could go in with 1 or 2 of the clears, and I just used, you could use a piece of paper, you can use a cupcake tin, whatever you know, a cupcake sheet, whatever you want. I have these silicone ones, which are, I love them, but they do leave powder inside, so I always wipe them down before I use a different color. And you can pour your clear it back into your container. And then let's use some activator. This is not necessarily a full tutorial video on how to apply, since I didn't show you the first coat of clear. I didn't want to keep you on here too terribly long. So you would go in with 1 coat of activator, you do all 10 fingers, let all 10 fingers, you know, it'll give it time for your first one to dry. Go in with a 2nd coat of activator. When I swatch, I usually just kind of do them together because it's not, as long as you let this coat dry before you put your top coat brush on there, otherwise you can harden your top coat brush. So this is the part you want to be extra careful, ensure that this step is dry before you put your top coat on there at all. And you always want to make sure that you're wiping off your brush. So as you do your 10 fingers, you know, take your top coat and apply to a finger. You want to, you know, go down all 10 of your fingers, that way it dries. And in between, you want to wipe off your brush because you don't want to be taking activator from one finger to the next, and you want that activator to be completely dry before you put your top coat on. And that way you don't harden your brush. Similarly, just a note real quick too, make sure when you're taking your brush out, you go straight up, and you don't want to put it to its side and let that base coat or top coat dip down the side, because it's almost like an adhesive. And after that first coat dries, you can put a second coat of top coat on, and you are all set. So just kind of a new, we haven't shown this, this way of doing the dip powders before. You can use an extra brush if you don't feel comfortable putting your brush right in there, but there's no color on there. It's all black, no color left. But this reminds me of like sherbet and summer, so I really do love it. I think that you could even just leave out the mint if it's not showing up enough for you. But I think I'm going to send it with the mint anyways, because mint and coral are beautiful colors for summer. So thanks so much for watching. That is our tie-dye marble dip it right in your powder tutorial. Thanks for watching.